Well, we might be going down the rabbit hole today, but that's what we're gonna talk about some conspiracy theories today. Howdy, folks. Welcome back to Ref Shaw Outdoors. And now, a big thing going on right now in the news and social media. A lot of people are wondering about, saying, geez, 30-06 could not have taken out Charlie Kirk. A lot of people are saying, well, I'm a hunter. I have a 30-06. I know what 30-06 can do. There's no way a 30-06 would have stopped and not left a huge exit hole. Well, if you have kind of followed me and what I've said for a few years now, it all really comes down to what the bullet you select. As far as your terminal effectiveness, it all comes down to the bullet you select. 30-06 obviously has taken every animal on planet Earth, but when it comes down to the bullet you choose, that has a lot more to do with how effective it is. For years, I used 165 grain Winchester PowerPoints in 30-06. And I had less than stellar results. I know I used some hand loads that my dad had made when I was in high school. Those were 165 Spear Hot Core. And then when I graduated, I went to Winchester PowerPoints. And for those that don't know, Winchester PowerPoint is just I don't know if I want to say cheap, but they're an economical option. They're going to be one of your less expensive loads, factory loads. If you want to think about what other, less expensive, cheaper factory loads, Remington Core Lock is one, which, according to the evidence, that is what was used on Kirk. Hornady Interlock is a cup and core. I think the SST is also cup and core. If I am not mistaken, the ELDX, well, all of the ELD bullets, ELDM, ELDX, VX, they are cup and core, if I'm not mistaken. Now, here I've got two different 30-06. I don't have any Winchester PowerPoints in 30-06 anymore. I never use core locks, but they are basically the same thing. This is a 308 here, and this is a 150 grain PowerPoint. If you look, obviously, exposed lead tip, copper jacket. The reason they put copper jackets on modern high-powered rifles, as opposed to back in the 1800s when they used black powder, if you'd melt the lead going down the barrel, and your accuracy was awful. So with smokeless powder and high velocity, they started putting copper jackets. As we know, copper is a pretty soft metal, but the way a cup and core bullet like a Winchester PowerPoint or a Remington Core Locked is made, is they have the copper jacket open. They shove like a lead wire, basically, down into, I guess I should try to explain. If we're talking cup and core bullets, the copper jacket is the cup, the lead is the core. And some are open on the bottom, actually most. It's just a copper tube that they shove a lead wire in, more or less, snip it off, they shape it, and there you go. There is nothing holding that lead core to the copper jacket. Now, when the turn of the century and this all started becoming what they were doing, the 30-30 Winchester at, let's see, 300 feet a second. I don't even know if it's going that fast. But that was kind of it worked pretty well in that. It's not going so fast that the bullets would come apart. But again, that's a lower velocity. But what I noticed with 30-06, I have these 308 cartridges, but I don't have a 308. But what I was noticing on white-tailed deer with the Winchester PowerPoints was, like I said earlier, less than stellar results. First deer I shot was a very, very nice 8-point buck at about 200 yards. Pulled up. It was a perfect double lung, or maybe, yeah, it was double lung. And I got back on him. He was standing on a creek, or like a big draw on a bank. There's, it would drop down, I don't know, 15 feet down to the creek. The creek wasn't all that way high, but I hit him and I seen him go over the bank, his tail down, so I knew I hit him, and it was right before dark, and I got out of the stand and I walked over there and I started looking and I couldn't find blood anywhere. And pretty soon I was like, man, I know I hit him. Did I gut shoot him? I actually got the light on my phone and I'm looking in the willows and stuff, and all of a sudden I hear this, and I'm like, geez. I followed that over, and there he was, laying there at probably 75 yards from where I hit him, and he had gone down the bank and got along the creek, turned around and went downstream 75 yards or so and piled up. If he hadn't have made that sound, I wouldn't have ever found him. Other deer that I took, I remember I was sitting in a stand, had a doe. This was a totally enclosed stand, so the windows, I kind of had like posts. But I saw a doe and I pulled out the window, probably 50 yards, hit her, and she went, and same thing, tail down, she's going, across this slough grass, and came up through a little short ridge. I kind of lost her, and I'm like, geez, and then she went, I seen her come out again into another slough grass and shot again, hit her that again, and was trying to go up a hill onto another ridge in the woods. And it was cattle pasture, so the woods were pretty well cleaned out. I could see pretty well. And I pumped another one in her, and then she went down. There's like 3 rounds, and the furthest of those was about 75 yards away. And I was just like, gosh, I can't believe this is 30-06. This should be Same with that buck, no exit holes. Again, these are deer, so this is a little different than a human neck, but and then another one, later, there was snow on the ground. I was still hunting, and I saw, I don't know, it was a lot of does and a lot of fawns. Took a shot at a doe at probably 30 yards, and there's snow on the ground, and all the deer take off, and I didn't see if she had her tail down or not. So I start looking, casting about. I cannot find blood anywhere. I'm like, there's no way I missed 30 yards away. So I did what you do when you lose a track, and I didn't know which one was hers, but I'm thinking there's no way I missed at 30 yards. I started going in big circles, bigger and bigger circles. Finally picked up a little bit of blood, probably 50 yards from where she was standing when I shot. And so I could just you couldn't hardly tell it was even blood. I mean, if you had just happened to look at it and you weren't really looking for blood, you'd think it was just like seeds, little tiny seeds dropped in the snow. And I followed her probably, 50 to 100 yards somewhere. Yeah, it was there's snow on the ground, mind you. Found her piled up. Double lung shot, no exit hole. So, and there were I'm sure there were a few other, because I used them things for years and just did not have good luck with Winchester PowerPoints. And I think it was that doe, actually. I was skinning her. And here's where we're getting away from the conspiracy theories. I skinned this deer and I found the lead core, or not the lead core. I found the copper jacket, no lead core. Is it completely separated? And if they're now, according to the evidence, now they all say, oh, they just found fragments. What they should be saying is what they actually found, because I have seen what they call the fragments. It's just the copper jacket, which is what I have been saying all this time about why I don't use Winchester PowerPoints or Remington core locks on whitetails, because the copper jacket separates from the lead core. I don't know where the lead core goes because I've never found it, but I have found the jacket. That is what they found. Now, so from my experience, skinning, shooting deer, I'll tell you, let's back way up. I was a senior in high school, and I had been using my dad's hand loads in 30-06, and they weren't quite, the bullets were seated out a little too far for my rifle. I had a Winchester Model 70. Dad had an automatic. They worked fine in his, but they didn't I couldn't close the bolt on my Model 70. So I went to town, bought a box of 180 grade Winchester PowerPoints. And now they were shooting about a foot to the right, but I didn't have to, I'm in deer camp. I wasn't really, I didn't know that at the time. Little buck came out. He was actually a 1x4. He had 1 point on one side and 4 on the other. But he walked out 100 yards. I put it on his shoulder, touched off the round, and he swapped ends, and then, or I guess he did like a 270 degree turn and took off running straight away from me. I'm like, what in the world? I'm getting ready, ran the bolt, getting ready for another one, and all of a sudden he tips over. And I'm like, okay. I hit him, that buck, because when he'd come and he kind of had his head down, was going left from my left to my right, and my gun's shooting, a foot and a half to the right, and pow, hit him in the jugular. That was the cleanest gutting job I've ever had in my life, because he was bled out. It was like when you bleed out a pig, when you're butchering hogs. No exit wound. Same thing when we skinned, found the jacket, separated from the lead core. Didn't find the lead core, but found the jacket. Exactly the same thing that happened in the Kirk trial, or all that stuff, which is what I had been saying from the beginning. There's a lot of hunters out there that are saying, I use a 30-06 and it blows a huge hole in them. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm going to talk a little bit more about my brother used 180 grain Federal Power Shock. That's Federal's kind of cut cheaper cup and core stuff. Same thing. I actually skinned that doe for him, and I found the copper jacket, no lead core. So I quit using them. When I quit using Winchester PowerPoints, cup and core bullets, I went to the Winchester. This is 180 grain. 180 grain ballistic silver tip. Some people don't like these. It technically is a cup and core, but I've actually had better luck with these. I don't think it has quite as much violent expansion, and really all it is, the Winchester ballistic silver tip is actually a Nosler bullet. It's the exact same thing. It's made by Nosler, but it's the exact same thing as the Nosler ballistic tip. The Winchester ballistic silver tip is made by Nosler for Winchester. They changed the colors a little bit, and there you go. I've actually had very good luck with this. Probably 50-cent piece size exit wounds. When I've actually dropped whitetails in their tracks was with, I've only done that maybe twice, was with the 180 grain ballistic silver tip. This is one I haven't used. I got a box of them and haven't used them. This is a Nosler AccuBond, 180 grain AccuBond. So how that works, a bonded bullet, the lead core is electrochemically, that might not be the right word, but it's bonded to the copper jacket. So I guess, what's the word? Like welded in a way, but welded is not really the word either. But it's not just shoved in like the cup and core PowerPoint or core locked. On these standard cup and cores, there's nothing holding the lead core to the jacket, and that's why it doesn't take much. Now, people are going to say, oh, geez, a human neck. Well, Charlie Kirk was a big guy. He had, the average human neck is 4 inches in diameter. Well, he wasn't an average human. He was a big guy. And I've shot a whitetail in the neck, and it stopped the bullet too. So, but when a lot of hunters are saying that they're getting huge exit wounds, I got to back up even before I used my dad's hand loads. I used 165 grain Nosler partitions, and those blew a huge exit hole, anywhere from 50-cent piece size to like that. Now, Nosler partition is a cup and core, but if it sheds there's obviously, if you don't know how the partition works, there's the lead core, and then about 2/3 of the way down, there is a copper wall, the partition, and then more lead after that. So it stops expanding when it gets to that copper partition. And then you'll get a pass through all the way through, exit hole. So, if this made sense to anybody, hopefully, I was going to bring out, forgot to grab them, but I had some Barnes TTSX, and I might use them this year. We'll see. I got too many different things going on, but different cartridges and stuff I'm working on, and I only have so many tags. But the all copper bullets, they work a little different. The tip triple shock has a polymer tip such as this or this, which basically covers up a hollow point. And the way when the hollow point fills with soft tissue, that causes it to expand. It's a totally different idea than a lead-based bullet. But when Barnes tip triple shock hits, the polymer tip disintegrates and exposes the hollow point, which then fills with soft tissue and causes the bullet to expand. Generally, you get 4 petals. I've recovered, I think there were 160, maybe they're 180 grain from a 300 Weatherby on a moose. Recovered quite a few of them, actually. The outfitter I worked for in Alaska, he would finish off clients' moose, and I recovered quite a few of those, actually. But that's how that works. But from now, more on the conspiracy. From my experience with cup and core bullets and the evidence being presented, it is exactly what I expected. I do not believe in any conspiracy theories that he was not assassinated with something other than a 30-06. I believe it was the man that they have on trial. And just by my anecdotal experience with a lot of different 30-06 bullets and loads, I believe that the evidence that they are presenting is really what happened. So, might have disappointed some people with that. I know there's some other big-time hunters and guys that know more than me that would disagree with me. I don't want to name names, but because some of these guys I have a lot of respect for, but they would definitely disagree with me on this. So, but from what I've seen and the evidence presented, that is what the official narrative is what happened. So, yes, with my experience with 30-06 and lots of different 30-06 loads, the evidence that is being presented is the truth. Again, sorry if you're disappointed with that, but that's what I've got for you for today. Anyway, that'll be today's video. I'm Pete Refshaw with Refshaw Outdoors. Keep your powder dry.